everyone, welcome to another episode of Silver Screams.
It's contagious.
I'm here to introduce the show. Today we are talking about episode 5 from season 2.
You need to stop.
I find that your attitude is very offensive.
You need to stop.
So you won't catch it as well?
No.
That's the point, is inconsistent accents.
I've moved often enough in my life that I'm immune.
Okay, so you don't mind me doing the whole episode like this then?
I think they might mind.
Probably. I'll stop. I can't keep it up anyway. So yes, we're looking at season 2, episode 5 of Scream Queens, which is called...
Chanel pour homicide.
Why didn't you just do a French accent? Like...
No. Just because my pronunciation is good doesn't mean I have to go for the accent.
I have a special appreciation for this episode because, as you all just heard, I can't do accents.
That's difficult to do.
It's so difficult.
And then changing it at the drop of a hat. And for me, the scene where it's the two of them and the accents going back and forth and back and forth and the camera's rotating.
Yeah, and they're just switching in between these, again, admittedly
very
not...
nuanced.
Yeah, but admittedly not perfect, but still very nuanced accents. It was a really good...
Dang, guys.
It was a really good display of everybody's acting ability. And now I sound like Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. It was so great, and like using the movie accents as references and everything like that. That was probably my favorite part of this entire episode, was just that particular storyline of like, this is how we talk now.
Oh, I like the 2.5 seconds with the finger.
That was great too. Just like, and something's... I guess we know that our Green Meanie is a little OCD because like just that one thing was gonna drive him crazy.
Like he's not already. That
well,
I
him or her.
appreciated.
Him or her.
I was not, you know, more Chanel's is always kind of interesting, and I like that they're aware enough to know that, yeah, we're important and everyone else is cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Like, we're peeking around the other side of the fourth wall here.
Just
and no one would ever do it. Excuse me. I feel like that's not something that would happen in a non-Ryan Murphy world. It's people going, well, I know I'm here to die, but I'm okay with it because the clothes are great. Like, guys?
the doing meta horror comedy is very difficult, and to pull it off well, because I've seen it done well and I've seen it done painfully. Painfully obvious too. To where it's like you're trying to be self-referential, but it's just coming off as desperate and not funny. So I appreciate when a show can do it right. And this show, more often than not, does it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
again, part of it is the fact that it's a Ryan Murphy world and it's a couple of degrees off of center and everyone is a little more trope savvy and a little less sane.
Yeah.
And that's why it works so well, because we've established that this is the kind of world where Hester's plan, for the most part, worked.
Like Hester was an all-star in this episode. Oh my gosh. What did you say? Leah Michelle is just like a gift.
God bless Leah Michelle.
She's just a gift to the world.
And I mean, I watched Glee for a couple seasons and I was like, okay. And then you bring her in here and it's like, this is where she needs to be. Like, yes, she has a fantastic singing voice, and yes, that needs to be a thing, and I would love to have a musical episode where that's the disease that's going through the... like,
yes!
That I would be down for a musical episode. I know that's probably not the case because it would have been far more publicized, because musical episodes usually are, but...
Maybe if we get a season 3.
But her comedic talents and just acting like a complete freaking sociopath, she's really good at it.
I'm a psychopath and a sociopath, and I hear you're looking for more Chanel syndrome. I'm a little hurt you didn't ask.
She was on fire this episode. She's been on fire this season. She has been some of the most fun to watch.
I think she's only had like 5 minutes of screen time in this episode, but every second...
Doesn't matter.
I feel like every second she was on screen, she was positively captivating and just absolutely hilarious. And there's just that one bit where she's just walking down the hall behind the Chanels, and she's just got
sprinting.
She's got this smile, just this like she's power walking, and
in
she's
slippers and a robe, and it's hard to power walk in pajamas.
Absolutely, but she's just having the absolute time of her life, playing this cat and mouse game that she might not have anything to do with. Like, she might just be sitting back and watching the carnage unravel.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Or she might have her own scheme, like, in the works, just like this mechanism that she's got in place that she's just kind of allowing to go itself. And
I think
either way, she's having fun.
Well, I think her scheme is eventually to kind of get out of here and get her freedom, but for now, she's just kind of popcorn dot gifting at things. She's made herself invaluable to the Chanels.
Yeah. And again,
despite previous attempts at murder.
Which, let's be honest, it's not that difficult to pull one over on the Chanels, but they're smarter than people give them credit for, but then they occasionally do something really stupid, like harboring a known serial killer.
See, I keep putting things in D&D terms. Like, they all have really low wisdom scores, but they keep rolling exceptionally high. So occasionally when it's a normal roll and it works with their scores, you're like, wow, that's kind of dead. No, that's pretty much in line.
Does being a main
They've just been rolling 19s the whole fucking time.
Does being a main character give you advantage on rolls?
No.
In this case,
something in your skill set gives you advantage on rolls. So ordering people around, or being kind of horrifyingly charismatic, or knowing how a serial killer thinks in Hester's perspective. Those are your advantages. Things that you are proficient in.
Yeah. And what the cannon fodder isn't, they fully acknowledge that they're okay with being human shields. I did feel
the
that
NPCs in this campaign.
Yeah, and
no one made character sheets for them. There's no point.
They seem to be okay with it, with the exception of the girl who just got killed at the end here, and the poor, what did they call him? The fan, Tristan. He was a big fan of the Chanels, and then he finally got to be a Chanel, and then he got killed for his trouble. Poor kid.
The fact that they actually did put a choker down there, though.
Yeah!
I was not expecting that to be the case. One, because they're still broke. And two, because if they knew they were setting a trap, well, all they had to do was tell her there's a choker down there.
Yeah, they didn't actually
And if it takes the bait, she dies, plan works. And if she doesn't find it, she eventually comes back up and says, I couldn't find it. And then you sit there and go, oh, you stupid bitch, you fell for it. Or, oh, it was down there, you just didn't look hard enough.
You didn't look hard enough.
And then either which way, it's perfectly in line for a Chanel. So I was very surprised that there was one there at all.
Exactly. I mean, it was still a terrible thing to do. They probably just picked one out that they know that they would like, because they're like, she's gonna get killed, we'll get to keep it.
Just a matter of being able to afford it.
Yeah, but
that's what was weird about
this poor guy, I mean, he wrote Chanel fan fiction.
See?
Any thoughts on that? Just
do not send your fan fiction to people who work on the thing.
No. Unless they ask you to.
Oh, no, there's legal issues with this.
Oh.
If people actually work on a show or a movie or whatever, or a book series, anything that's ongoing, they legally cannot read what you send them. Your fan fiction, your prospective scripts, or anything. They have to send it back, still sealed, completely unopened. Because if they have an idea that's parallel to yours, that someone got sued once.
Exactly, yeah.
Because there was an author and it was a parallel idea thing, but this person said, I wrote that in a fan fiction months ago and you couldn't have. And there was a huge legal battle. So, for one, in terms of working on larger productions, do not send them your stuff.
Nope.
They cannot read. They physically cannot read it. It's a legal thing. In terms of writing fan fiction about real people, do not send them your stuff.
You're not Tina Belcher. Don't, if you have erotic friend fiction, keep it to yourself.
If you like it, great. If you're in a fandom that likes it, great. Don't send it to the actual person you're writing about. There's a huge difference between you play this person on TV and you are this person. Because the you are this person stuff is just your kink is not my kink, fine, but please don't send it to the actual person because that is uncomfortable at best.
Well, and we're talking about somebody who this would be like somebody writing fan fiction about like a real life person who was acquitted of a crime. Like,
You're acting like that doesn't happen.
I've been listening to a lot of true crime podcasts lately, and it's uncomfortable the way that, like, people do become attracted to people in these trials.
But like some of the stuff that I read, some of the texts that were coming up on screen as examples, and one of them was, did you read the one where you and Chanel number 3 were caught in the cement mixer and you did it? I'm like, oh God, why would you send anyone that? If your Chanel fan club is into it, great. Don't send it to them. Don't send it to the actual person that you're writing about. That is so...
We're not kink shaming.
Oh,
just think about what you do before you do it.
Think about the person on the other end of this.
Mm-hmm. Just please do.
Good Lord.
Neither here nor there, but it is...
RPF, man. There are some lines. There are some lines.
Just...
share it among the fans.
I feel like we talked
Don't
about this
share
on a
it with
completely different show earlier this week. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. That's all you have to do. I feel like that's the bare minimum of being a fan of something. Just don't be a dick.
Earlier it was don't be a dick, but for this one it's
Respect
them
people's
as
boundaries.
people. When you write stories about them, you're treating them as though they're fictional. Respect that they are actual people, and don't make them read your stories about them as actual people. There's a difference. Like I said, RPF has some really interesting lines.
Especially with the internet.
Yep.
But that being said, obviously I don't think anybody who watches our show needs that lecture.
God, I hope not.
You guys are always pretty cool. Anyway, I felt bad for that guy, but at the same time I'm like, I was kind of with Chanel number 3, like, just because he's gay doesn't mean he's not a serial killer.
Name one gay serial killer. John Wayne Gacy.
Jeffrey Dahmer. One of the Menendez brothers, probably. And she's right.
You listen to a lot of My Favorite Murder.
I'm listening to a lot of My Favorite Murder and a lot of Last Podcast on the Left. Your mileage may vary for both of them, so just keep that in mind if you decide to dig into those.
I mean, they do talk about a lot of real life murder, so if that's not your thing, maybe don't listen. But if you're interested, absolutely listen.
And also, My Favorite Murder is better if you're looking for more of like a feminist podcast. Last Podcast on the Left, their sense of humor isn't for everyone, and even occasionally I'm like.
So sometimes it's like watching Rooster Teeth shows.
Yeah, very much.
Sometimes it's great for everyone, and sometimes it's like,
not for everyone. Opposite of for everyone.
So we should get back to
Getting back to this show.
Tristan, was it?
Tristan, yeah. He's dead now. But you know...
Graphically so. I feel like makeup and props had just a ball with that.
Absolutely. Like,
and
that was
I wonder if they didn't reuse it for Chanel number 10.
And I
with
also...
the 30 feet of extra intestine.
I was going to say, I feel like that's a prop that's coming back when she inevitably gets eviscerated.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing that's going to happen.
Like, there's no way that's not going to happen. There's no way that's not coming up again.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about other people at the hospital, all of the patients from the last episode got axed. All of those Hamilton cosplayers. Aaron Burr!
God, that was so funny. We just need to find the person dressed as Aaron Burr. Like, oh my God.
Which is funny because she's not exactly wrong. Cracked put out a video earlier this week about the worst thing that Aaron Burr did isn't actually shooting Alexander Hamilton, although that is terrible.
No, that's just the most, popular is not the right word. Best known. Infamous. Thank you.
The actual worst thing he did was actually actively make people sick with a piece of legislation originally designed to save lives, and he ended up kind of
profiting off of it.
Profiting off of the death of thousands.
Change.
Nope.
Anyway,
back to the show. Aaron Burr, you monster. Could you imagine the Green Meanie also dressed as Aaron Burr?
Oh my God. Just yep.
You're the worst, Burr. Anyway, but yeah, so they all got axed, so they can't keep hiding bodies in the swamp. They ended up putting Denise's body, which is slightly alive.
A very, very low pulse, but she is essentially brain dead, according to Dean, now Dr. Munch. So here's our cryogenic freezing tube that's experimental and that I had built in here just in case I die before they find a cure for my disease. Let's just stick her in there. So that's Schrodinger's corpse.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
Schrodinger's not corpse.
I thought she was super dead at the end of the last episode, but by saying she still has a slight pulse, let's just leave her here for right now.
I mean, last time we had dead bodies disappearing out of meat lockers, they all showed up in a haunted house halfway through the season.
So Denise, do we think she's coming back, like she'll wake up and she'll be a character again? Or do you think her body's just going to show up somewhere? Because we had this, like, I feel bad because it was like we said goodbye in the last episode because we thought she was dead. I would love it if she came back.
I feel like her body's going to show up somewhere. And it's going to be bad.
I would personally love it if she actually came back, like she's just in a coma right now, and she woke up and she's like, I saw my baby Chad Radwell. And
well, now she's frozen.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, to see what the show plans on doing with her. That being said,
I'm expecting episode like 8 or 9.
Yeah. Poor Chanel number 5, though. Denise is dead. They
all saw Denise was dead. Yelled at Chanel number 5 for being like, hey, I need medical treatment. And then all of them left her there on the floor.
Chanel number 1 just being addicted to causing Chanel number 5 pain.
Hear her across the hospital.
And just Chanel number 5, it's a miracle nothing vital was
But evidently it went in 9 inches, broke 3 of her ribs. It's Saturday afternoon. This isn't alcohol. I don't know what's happening.
It's way too early to start drinking.
What time is it? Like 3
o'clock. 3 o'clock,
3 o'clock. I'm good at life, you guys.
Anyway,
broke 3 of her ribs, severed something, punctured a lung. She's in a bad way.
But
she should be in the ICU because she's kind of got this thing going on.
And she was in the ICU, and Chanel pulled her out because she's like, I need people to boss around.
You're easier to insult when you're at home. It's just like, you just made life a lot harder on yourself because you do have to keep her alive.
Chanel's such a bad person.
And just the fact that Chanel number 5 is up and about and doing things, like,
and again, she's like, the Green Meanie tried to kill me twice, and I still maintain, I'm like, no, he let you live twice. Why? There has to be a reason for it other than she's a main character.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
like, as a person, there's got to be a reason. Because the Red Devil kidnapped Zayday, and he was in love with her.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, costume guys don't just leave someone alive. In this show, they don't just leave somebody alive for no reason.
Yeah.
There is always a motive behind it. And if he had wanted her dead, she'd be dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, he went back and did his darndest to make sure Denise was dead. Even though he kind of failed at that, too.
You tried.
Getting together, Green Meanie. But speaking of characters that we hadn't seen for a while, the nurse showed back up, played by Kirstie Alley. She's kind of been in the background for a little bit, and she came back.
Well, we had that week-long time skip
of
the, wow, I'm really bad at this today. No publicity is bad publicity, and the hospital has all sorts of patients and whatnot in it now.
Which means it's now flooded with cannon fodder.
Yep.
And Chanel candidates. But yeah, as a result, Kirstie Alley is just, she knows that the Chanels are not qualified to be there, and she's just actively making sure of it. And the dean doesn't take kindly to people besides herself berating her staff. And so she fires her, and that's when she basically goes, hey, I know your little secret, and I'm going to tell everybody, so you're going to rehire me. I still don't think
she's kind of a terrible human being.
She is. I don't think she's the Green Meanie, though. No. I honestly think she's just a person with a pill addiction who just doesn't want to be fired.
I feel like they went for the house stereotype, like the house MD stereotype, but then went, no, this is what they would actually be like if they were that badly addicted.
I'm not addicted.
Like,
I just think about it all the time, and I love it. It's my friend. It's my lover. It's, okay, maybe I am addicted, but it's not a problem.
Like, so I feel like we absolutely went for this person is obviously competent in their field. They are addicted to drugs, and they are not a good human being to the people around them. We went for House MD, but went for this is more what they would be like in real life, which is insane because this is a Ryan Murphy world.
Yeah.
Real life doesn't apply.
It's kind of weird that she's one of the most realistic characters in a Ryan Murphy show.
More like a realistic portrayal of what was already kind of an out there set of stereotypes.
That being said, though, I don't think she's the Green Meanie. I think she's just a bad person with an addiction.
Do we think she'll survive?
No.
Well,
I honestly think that, and that's the other thing, is now she has overtly crossed Dean Munch. And people who do that, unless you're Chanel, oddly enough, don't really live very long.
But the weird thing with Chanel, like when they were just vaguely trying to kill Dean Munch last season, she just kind of kept getting out of it.
She's a wizard.
Kind of superhuman.
She was frozen. Like she should not have survived that. And she just
Which makes me wonder about this cryogenic chamber now.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's just one of those things where Dean Munch is kind of a wizard at escaping death, and anybody who has crossed her, like I said, unless you're Chanel, has come to regret it. So I feel like basically she just signed her own death warrant.
Probably. I mean, being in this hospital is signing your own death warrant.
Pretty much. And speaking of hospital employees, though, Zayde confronts Chamberlain because we find out that he's not actually a hospital employee, which is super shady.
He hasn't been hired by anyone, his story was a lie, and no one bothered to check it till now.
Which I think is kind of weird because if, like, I was the dean, like, the first time I saw him, I would have been like, you don't work here. Who are you?
Again, they all just occasionally fail their saving throws.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Meh.
Yeah, but because she thought
an insight check on Chamberlain. I rolled a 2. You know who he is. Maybe he's someone's assistant.
Oh, I guess he's Dr. Brock's assistant. Okay, cool. Whatever. Rolling with it. But Zayde suspects him of being the child of the woman from 1985, goes to that woman's house to question her with Chanel number 5, and basically kind of walks away with an ambiguous, it could be him, but we don't know.
It's like, oh, it
because
can't
this
be
was
her,
an
she's
interracial
white.
couple.
And then, oh, her dead husband.
Way to stereotype Zayde.
See, and the thing is, I'm looking at this going, not necessarily one of my coworkers interracial marriage. She's white, her children are black.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're the biggest sweethearts.
Well, she made an assumption because that was before she saw the picture.
True.
So she's like, oh, this lady's white. It can't possibly be.
But I mean, Zayde, who does the research, you'd think she'd see that and look this up and then, like, Google it, see if anything came up, see if the records came up. There would have been newspaper articles about this missing guy, this father is
I guess that shows just how little information about the couple there was. There must have not been any pictures because she would have known that this was an interracial couple before coming to meet them.
True.
If that was the case. So there just must not have been a ton of information on it in terms of the archives that they looked at. That being said, by the time we get to the end of the episode, we still don't know. It could be Chamberlain, it could be somebody we haven't met yet, but Taylor Lautner's character shows up and calls her mom, and
she said some people came by from the hospital asking about you, asking about my baby. I was like,
so...
Because my other thing is, Taylor Lautner's Native American? Guys?
And here's where we get to a little bit of a problem, because it's like people who are ambiguously brown get cast in ambiguously brown roles.
And so it's just like, is this a casting thing? Is this an actual clue? Is this
or is it an intentional misdirect? Like, he can't pause, like, because he's a Native American actor, he's not actually their son. He's actually, an adopted son because she said she never had any other kids.
Yeah.
And if she's she was clearly very lonely and has she claimed to have an estranged relationship with the son that she gave birth to, which she did say she had a son.
Yeah. Could still be Chamberlain.
Yeah. So Taylor Lautner's character might just be an adopted kid or a foster kid that came into her household, that she has a good relationship with now. Or, he's
also clinically dead.
Yeah, that's also weird.
That's also weird. I have to wonder about this. Like, was it just a casting decision and we're looking too far into it? Or was it specifically an in-character misdirect? And we don't know because Hollywood casting is pants on head stupid sometimes.
Hollywood casting can be very dumb. See every instance of whitewashing ever.
When Twilight does it right and casts Native American actors to play Native American characters, like, Twilight did it right, y'all. You will rarely ever hear me say that.
It's the one thing they did do right. Anyway, but yeah, so it could be that just a case of Hollywood being interesting with its casting, or it could be an intentional misdirect because, again, we still don't know for sure if he's actually her biological son. So it's intriguing, though. It's very intriguing, which prop show, because I'm not quite sure how to take this particular development. Yep.
Just eyebrows.
Just eyebrows all the way. Although the only one other thing I want to point out is John Stamos. I don't remember his doctor's name, but John Stamos, evil hand doctor.
I'm happy that they named half the characters the same name because it's just Chanel.
Yeah, it's easier that way. He's intentionally trying to poke and prod at Chanel, again, for choosing Chad instead of him.
I love her. I have no emotional object permanence. I'm going to need like an hour and then I'll be fine. Oh my god.
Because
she's like a cat.
He clearly still wants her, but is still like actively trying to emotionally hurt her.
Oh, he's a dick.
At the end of the episode, he snuggles up to Chanel number 3, like, I guess it's
like it's just us this weekend.
It's like,
shut up,
you weirdo. You pick someone your own age. You're being weird. Cut it out.
Like 30 when I was born, right?
Yeah.
Although the Chanels, they were in college, they went to prison.
They're in their 20s now. Yeah, they're in their 20s now. So it's not that inappropriate, but it's one of those things where it's like, dude, you're weird. Anyway.
So it's...
yeah, I still don't know who... I still don't know who I think is the Green Meanie.
We have our new Chanels, and we have the Chanels that the Chanels hired, and then we have the Chanels that Dean Munch hired.
Yep.
And I'm just intrigued by the one. It's like, the only information we have from her is she's a semi-professional dungeon master. And I'm like...
Good for her.
I know people like that.
Good for her.
I'm looking for group right now, so...
I wonder if she's like the host of her own show.
Yes.
Because that would be amazing. If she was like a critical role character. That would be so great.
Interesting to see what they do with that. Because again, for the one with the extra finger, you very carefully cut the finger off and we know that the intestines are going to be a thing.
That is going to be a gag.
Yeah, it's going to be gross and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
You don't say they have 30 extra feet of intestines and then not do a thing.
And also no kidneys.
Yeah, that's dialysis. I mean, you
need those to live.
You can live without kidneys for a good chunk of time, but that's dialysis like every week or every 2 weeks or something. It's not... Should have been
those are important.
She should have been on the transfer list at some point.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Yikes.
Extra intestines doesn't fix the lack of kidneys. That's not how the body works.
Nope.
Oh, gosh. Anyway.
So, yeah, that's
a gag that is going to come back, and it's going to be funny and gross, as you said.
But given that they were all introduced by she's this, she has an extra finger. She's this, she has this.
She's a DM.
Being a DM is going to come into play somehow.
I hope so. That's going to be funny.
Oh, I will be intrigued.
It'll be interesting to see how they treat Dungeons and Dragons players in this Ryan Murphy.
I was going to say, it's Ryan Murphy.
So,
and she already kind of had the edgy goth vibe.
Could you imagine, though, the Chanel's playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh my god.
I'm a paladin. That was my best Chanel number 3.
Which is pretty good. That's the point where you put yourself in as a revenge paladin and just go.
We shall see. So that'll be fun. I can't wait. It's going to be... overall quality of this episode, it was just kind of okay. I feel like the last 2 were spectacular. So
it's kind of hard to follow up, but this is the end of the first half of the season.
Yeah.
We had our time skip. We've had a shift in priorities. We've had new Chanel's. And so now we have the rest of the season to just go on and be like, okay.
So yeah,
I
guess this was a shifting gears episode a little bit. So that makes sense. And I'm not saying it was a bad episode. It was just kind of like, and I think the other thing too is that we saw so little of the Green Meanie in this episode that it's just kind of like, we got a good chunk of him in the last few. So he was just kind of there, killed 2 people, and then killed lots of people actually, but like we don't get to see that much from him in this one. So,
and Hester was really the standout part of this episode.
Yeah, and
she was
again these past few episodes she's just been an all-star. Last episode specifically, when both she and the Green Meanie were on screen at the same time, like that was a certain level of both like tension and also awesome shot compositions.
I'm watching you, but I got you.
It was really well done, and like we haven't really done anything with that since then. So I'm waiting for more of that, because you've got 2 serial killers in the same hospital playing their own games, and yet like there's they only cross paths like once at this point.
Yeah,
so
Hester went after Chanel when she was able to, and the Green Meanie's just going after everyone.
Yeah, except Chanel number 5, which it'll be interesting.
I stabbed you because I love you.
He may very well have stabbed her just so Hester wouldn't.
Point.
So again, I'm interested. So Hester and the Green Meanie, we need to see them on screen more. I need that from this show.
I mean, we might have already and just don't know it.
Ooh. Well,
that's a gift.
I think that just about does it for. I think that just about does it for me. Any final thoughts?
Just that. We need more of Hester like this. This is amazing.
It really is. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Katie, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can find me on the social medias and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you like reaction videos, if you like other fun stuff, they live on that YouTube channel.
Cool. And I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. Be sure to follow Silver Screams at Silver_Screams. Like us on Facebook. All that jazz. So yes, thank you all so much for watching. We shall see you all in the next episode. Farewell.